My name is Jen McConnell, and I appreciate you being here today to explore why are we doing this using digital reflection to increase student engagement. In How We Think, John Dewey suggested that reflective thinking impels to inquiry, which for many educators is the underpinning of their pedagogical practice. However, reflection is not often accounted for in curricular documents, and as such it can easily fall by the wayside. But perhaps the reflective component is exactly what is missing when it comes to connecting with disengaged students. A myriad of factors has been shown to influence student engagement and achievement, including student perception of the teacher as likable, the physical environment, and student relationships. But perhaps we have been looking at it all wrong. Perhaps, as Boyd noted, reflective learning is the key element in learning from experience. How can these ideas be integrated in a modern high school classroom? For me, it was through the deliberate use of technology. The use of technology in the classroom has exploded in recent years, and researchers have noted that intentional use of technology in the form of student-created book talks, science websites, and blogs all led to increased student outcomes, including demonstrated increases in student engagement. Creating reflective opportunities that use technology offers educators a new way to connect with students. I have long valued reflection, and during my last year teaching high school, I began implementing very deliberate opportunities for students to reflect on their learning practice with the assistance of technology. Starting with my advanced placement students, I created a weekly reflection using Google Forms with stock questions each week, such as, what have you learned, anything you'd like me to know, and a Likert scale question asking students to rate this week on a scale of 1 to 5. In addition to these stock questions, I also asked questions specific to the content of each week to both check for understanding and collect direct feedback. Every Friday, students completed the reflection, and every Monday I would start class by answering all questions that had been asked on the previous week's form. These students were already incredibly invested in their learning, but their engagement that semester increased, due in part, I believe, to these reflections. It should be noted that the school followed a project-based learning model, which means the students were already accustomed to reflection and dialogue. When faced with an unmotivated group of grade 9 English students, I decided to offer the weekly reflection to them as well. In the spirit of action research, I wanted to address a practical problem occurring in a specific setting, in this case, the problem of student engagement in my grade 9 classroom. Every Monday, I answered the questions with the whole group, ranging from curricular concerns to personal questions about my reading habits or favorite color. My answers created a sense of transparency in the classroom, allowing students to look behind the curtain and hear about my process and motivation, since I regularly found myself fielding questions about the purpose of a class assignment or the larger value of our subject in the real world. Through this weekly dialogue with my students, they not only found greater opportunities for ownership of the class processes and materials, but they gave me the opportunity to think deeply about my own practice on a regular basis. In order to honestly answer the question, why are we doing this, I had to articulate my goals to my students weekly. Obviously, the biggest limitation to implementing a technology-based reflective process is technology. I was fortunate enough to be in a bring-your-own-device school, so I knew that I could reasonably ask my students to complete an online reflection. In schools without a BYOD policy, this practice can still be implemented, or the reflection could be assigned as homework. Reflections could also be completed using paper and pencil, but a limitation to consider here is the added bulk of materials and extra time. Additionally, an obvious advantage to using Google Forms to collect reflection data is the ability to transfer this information into a spreadsheet, the ease of which is lost in pen and paper reflections. As I learned through the use of Google Forms for reflection, many high school students have valuable questions to contribute to the classroom, and by answering these questions and engaging in open dialogue within the classroom, students are given an opportunity to more deeply understand and take ownership of their learning. The next time our students ask, why are we doing this? Consider answering the question. The dialogue may prove enriching to your practice as well. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me at the below information.